A new ruling from the Big Ten is creating even more waves when it comes to who can play college football. Eli Gaines in studio with me tonight, and eligibility concerns are getting out of hand, so the Big Ten decided to take a stand.
Yeah, without a doubt, taking matters into their own hands and saying enough is enough in relation to players going back to college who were on NFL rosters. That's the big thing about all of this, because within the last week, 2 players who were in training camp with NFL teams were ruled eligible to return to college, and they're playing under Lane Kiffin at LSU. So the Big Ten said, not so fast. We won't allow it within our conference. A statement was released this afternoon announcing the unanimous adoption of a conference rule to prohibit football players who have signed a professional contract, were on a professional roster at any point, or declared for the NFL draft as an underclassman without withdrawing from maintaining eligibility for athletics competition at a conference institution. The conference continues to evaluate potential rules restricting professional athletes in other sports from conference competition as well. So they're tightening this lid on the can of worms that has spread throughout the sport of college football and now pro football, I guess, to a certain extent. So when the initial report was made this morning, you may have thought, or you may not have, at least I did, well, how does this affect maybe Stephen Daly and Kellen Wyatt for Indiana? Short answer, it does not, because in their case, they didn't sign with an NFL team due to injury. So this particular Big Ten rule does not apply to them, but they are fighting a different court battle because they were initially granted a 5th year after a federal judge ruled that the NCAA's new eligibility rules applied to athletes in their 2022 recruiting class. But the NCAA appealed, and then last week the 10th Circuit Court temporarily put that ruling on hold. So that means they are currently ineligible to play, although they can continue practicing while that legal battle plays out. So these are 2 separate cases. Daly and Wyatt have done nothing wrong in any of this. They're just in limbo right now as they fight to now get a temporary restraining order on that ruling from last week so that they can play in some of these games that are right on the doorstep. And also with the Big Ten, if they have a player from the NFL play on their team during the season, a coach receives a half-season suspension and a very hefty institutional fine. So the Big Ten really putting the hammer down on eliminating that aspect of the game.
All right, we know you'll continue to cover this
sure.
complex issue. Eli, thanks.